from a novel in progress about an early modernist painter named Agnes Pelton. And she was born in 1881, died in 1961, and spent the last 30 years of her life in the Southern California desert, little town called Cathedral City. And what I'm reading tonight takes place shortly before her death in 1961. And Sarah is a young art student who is helping her and taking care of her. And this is a photo of the painting that she is working on. This was her last painting. And I'll be happy to show it to anybody that wants to come look at it later. The picture looks flat and aloof, and no wonder. It's been worked on in so many slow and difficult stages. I'm surprised that it has any life at all. I can see right through the paint to the ghostly charcoal plan I drew when the image came to me. A brilliant orb of light at the center, held by a bordering frame of vibrant blues and violets, the end of the spectrum. But getting up to work on it is impossible now. I am caught in an ancient and compromised body that has decided to become completely immobile. Never mind, Sarah will be here soon. She asked if I wanted her to stay with me at night, but I said no. She gets worried and keeps peering at me to see if I'm all right. I am all right. I'm not going to die yet, I told her. She looked shocked the way a young person does when you mention the unmentionable. I need my solitude, I repeated. I need to work. Work, she said. I guess work is a relative term, I said. At that, she smiled. I'm calling the painting Light Center. Need I say it? Yes, one should always say it. I am grateful to be alive, grateful to be in this bungalow, tiny as it is, cluttered with all the messiness of a life in art, the unsold canvases stacked in the corner, the jars of color I am not finished with, the rags limp and stained with turpentine. Grateful not to be in a sterile, soulless nursing home. For that, I have Sarah to thank, and I must remember to do so as soon as she gets here, and then I must do it many times each day thereafter. Whatever the grace that brought Sarah into my life on a brilliant winter day a year ago, she's made herself indispensable. The timing of it was such that I knew other forces must have been at work. It had been a week since I had learned why I was so extremely tired all the time. The news should not have surprised me, but it did. It took the wind right out of me. I had gone home to meditate, and I confess feel sorry for myself, when the vision of this painting came to me, the first abstract to appear in years. Before I could even sketch out what I had received, there was a knock at the door. What made me open it? In retrospect, I was very annoyed at the time. I can only repeat larger forces were working. I stood in the doorway, holding it tightly ajar. She could have been in her 20s, she could have been older. She had wonderful bones and a gracefully shaped head which she held at an angle. She was an artist, she said, and new to the desert. She'd been to the gallery in town with her portfolio and met the gallery's owner. That would be Beth. She said you and I were on the same wavelength, she said. Oh, she did she? Said I. Yes, she did. Her glance suddenly dropped. Miss Pelton, I would be so honored if you could look at my work sometime and tell me what you think. Yes, I see. Well, I'm terribly sorry, but I can't, I said. Oh, she looked chagrined, which was satisfying for an instant, and then made me ashamed of myself. I shouldn't have shown up like this, she turned to flee. I hope you will excuse me. She stepped onto the front path. Her face was resigned, but her back was straight and firm. I called to her. It's because I'm working, you see. on a new picture. Oh, she stopped and turned. How wonderful, she said, suddenly radiant. More than anything, I think it was this generosity that changed my mind. If you'd like to come back tomorrow, I'll be able to see you then. She began to stop by at the end of each day to show me what she'd been working on. I think what she needed was not so much a critique, which I felt entirely inadequate to supply and told her so, but a viewer, someone to look at what she had done, someone to bear witness. I am a good witness. She said you'd been famous, Sarah said of Beth one day. I was taken aback by her boldness. Famous, I retorted, hardly. She said you were there in New York when all sorts of people were there, and that you knew Georgia O'Keeffe. I felt an immediate prick of resentment. I didn't know O'Keeffe, not really. I knew of her, of course. Impossible not to with Stieglitz drumming up all sorts of excitement about her. Then someone compared my work to hers, which annoyed me. So I invited her to one of my studio showings. I remember a tall, striking woman wrapped in an enormous black cape, moving silently through the exhibit like a great bird ready to spread her wings and fly off at any moment. I don't think we ever spoke. I don't sleep well these nights. On the table next to my bed is the telephone, my reading lamp, a book on Kandinsky that Sarah brought, the pain medication I am permitted to take 4 times over a full day, a jug of water and a glass, and my journal with a pen clipped to the cover. It's resting at an awkward angle, but I managed to pick it up and find a blank page. I write, why will the past never stay where it belongs? I think our lives must be circular and not linear, which is hardly original. It's an idea I've painted over and over, but always in the abstract. In life, the way old memories circle back can be very uncomfortable. My pictures are an attempt to enclose them, to put them in a frame. I think I must have become my own frame, and that's a terrible irony. As an artist, when I'm planning an abstract, I consider its boundaries. What is the right size and shape to contain the idea? What is its measure? The frame, the stretchers on which the canvas is tacked, provides shape and size, form and ground. Yet over and over I've found that even as this ground nourishes the vision must conform to the limitations inherent in physical manifestation. And that is the beginning of heartbreak. For the instant an artist commits to form and shape, she becomes aware that the idea itself, which is nothing less than a grasp of eternity, has eluded her. Thank you.